Real quick, I want to do a fair use. Yeah, so this is the GOV UK. It's a guidance. It says using the UK immigration ID check app, right? It's going to be on, on the app. So, this is the first stages. So I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, your achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yehawada with the lesson.
Compulsory digital ID. Arma is considering compulsory digital ID cards to tackle illegal workers in the UK. The Brit card could help decrease illegal migration as the software would link government records to make right to rent and right to work checks quicker and easier. Labour Together says the ID could include a digital driving licence, proof of age and healthcare records.
You can't force a digital ID on me. Well, if you want to use your bank account, drive a car or go on holiday, you'll have to have one. So basically, if I want to live, look, we're doing it for your safety. How does you tracking everything I do make me safe? I'm glad you asked. We're using it to stop those pesky illegal immigrants. You see, you can't come into the country if you don't have a digital ID. Passports have been a thing for a long time, You're just using the immigration angle as an excuse. Yeah, but passports don't let us track every single individual thing it is you do. On an unrelated note, you've been to Greg's a lot this week, and you should probably clear your browsing history. So now I need government permission to buy a steak bake. What happened to freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom in general, to be honest? Oh no, we still have that. It just has to be approved freedom. That sounds suspiciously like a license for freedom. Precisely, and I believe yours is up for renewal in December. That's 250 quid a month, by the way. Paying for my own government to spy on me. I think it might just be cheaper to move to North Korea. What, giving you...
Yeah, so this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1. So it says, but of this times, right? Evil times, right? We're living in a time of evil, man, right? And the seasons, brethren, right? And you few sisters that listen, right? And pay attention. It says, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the outer one, right, which is Yahweh Shai, so cometh as a thief in the night, man. So it's going to come unexpectedly, right? For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape, right? So without further ado, we're going to get into this lesson. Yeah, so this is Luke chapter 12, verse 45. I'm going to do it in the NIV. But it says, but suppose the servant says to himself, my master, right, which everybody's master, no matter even if you're Esau, the master or the Lord, right, the outer one is Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, no matter what, right? There ain't no ways around that. You know what I mean? Yahweh being the father of spirits, his son being the second in command, and then about to be given full command and full reign over everything. So you can't cut it without Yahweh being the Father and his Son being the second in command, right? And it says, my master is taking a long time in coming, right? Because the second coming of Yahweh Shai is about to be here, right? It's coming very soon, and it's pretty much at hand. And he then begins to beat the other servants, both men and women, and to eat and drink and get drunk. This one says drunken, right? Which that's basically what Esau is. He's getting drunk off his power, right? He's on his high horse. He's saying, "Hey, look, the Lord's taking a long time, and I better get it in while it in before he comes, before the second coming, right? Because it looks like it's very close. We've seen all the signs and everything, right? Seeing the chariots, you're seeing everything, the signs. The men of the Lord are standing upon their feet, prophesying, pushing forth the word. That's the servants. So they're looking to shut up the truth, right? And this digital ID, right? Though they're putting it off on the immigrants, which they're doing that in the UK, which we know that's coming here too, right? Being that may, because Trump spoke in the UK about it, so that they're bringing it, because that was something they did during the CV19. Remember, Trump said that he's the father of the Maxine of the CV19, right? So it says, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour, right? So we know that final hour, it's going to take but 1 hour to destroy this place, right? Which is America, Babylon the Great, right? Which, not to mention the entire system within the entire world. It's going to take but 1 hour to dissolve everything Esau's ever sat up to put forth his authority, right? And it says, in that hour, he is not aware of, he will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the unbeliever, right? Which in the other thing, appointed, right? So that's ultimately what Esau is. He's appointed to be the son of perdition, right? He's appointed to be the man of destruction, right? To be destroyed, right? That's and he is an unbeliever, right? Which 2/3 of Israel will be cut off in that like manner, right? With the unbelievers, right? Because you have been doing the things of your father, Esau, Edom, and you've been smiting your fellow Israelite, right? Calling yourself Crips and Bloods and GDs and Vice Lords and hoes and pimps and squares and suckers and Johns, right? Marks, right? Setting each other up for gain, right? Yeah, so this is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 4, and saying, where is the promise of his coming, right? So we know that the second coming of Yahushua is fastly approaching, right? And we're basically, it's at hand. So they're bringing forth this digital ID in the UK, and we know that this is basically the daughter of the UK, which is America, and these things are all interconnected with these elite, So, and then not to mention, even Trump himself was over there speaking about their digital ID as if it's something they just came up with. Like, oh my God, I just had a bright idea. When they pretty much they've been speaking of this. They've been trying to do this for quite some time, and of course we've seen it. The most prominent moment of seeing it was in the 2020 and 2021, so on and so forth, during the time of the CV19, which they were trying to pretty much implement it then. So this is just another backdoor way of being able to implement it through the immigrant crisis, right? Which America has pretty much the same issue that England has, or the UK has, or Europe in itself has, with the immigrants, which it was self-induced, self-inflicted, right? Just for this purpose, right? So it's not nothing they didn't know, right? They knew these things. They're gonna self-inflict themselves. Problem, reaction, solution, right? And yeah, and it says of his coming forth, since the fathers fell asleep, right? Which means they died. All things continued as they were from the beginning of creation, right? See, but we know that this is going to be a new thing, right? This is not going to be a thing that all things continue, because there's never been a time where you didn't have a physical was assets to buy and trade with, right? Or to announce who you were, right? You've always had some type of physical proof of who you were, right? Whether you had some type of family heirloom or something that described who you were. You had records to find out who you were as who you were born to. It was logged down. You go, because back in the day we had the priest. The priest would have it logged down in a logbook who you were and this and that. But of course, those things can be burnt or manipulated, right? And now we're coming to a time where they're using the immigration thing. I'm surprised they even really spoke about the the counterfeit of the bills, right? I'm surprised they never used that angle about how many counterfeits that you have, which that must be a thing that's down, like that's not really prevalent at this moment, right? Making counterfeit bills, because that would be another reason to say, hey, we need to bring in this thing because we have to authenticate the bills. So if we have it digital, there's no way, because now it's within you, and there's no one can come and counterfeit that, right? Per se. For this, they willingly are ignorant. And see, we basically, as the men of the Lord, we go out and prophesy, and tell them what's to happen before it happens, man. But a lot of people are willingly ignorant and not paying attention to everything is going digital, right? They're even telling you all your jobs. They're going to wipe away your jobs and put everything as digital, right? When AI is taking over your thing, this is digital. This is computer. This is computerized things. Technology is taking over your jobs, right along with taking over your finances, your income. This is where you're going to have to buy and sell, right? Through digital means, by technology. But for a lot of people, they willingly or ignorant of that by the word of the power of the Most High Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, the heavens were of old, and the earth stand out of the water and in the water, right? During the time of the flood, right? It says, whereby the world that that then was being overflowed with water perished. Saying that's what's about to happen now. The old world that you knew of, it's not the same anymore, right? Because in that time there was what called a Pangea, and you could basically see the Pangea when you look at the world map. You could see where parts of Africa was connected to where Brazil and stuff is at. You could see how you could basically put those pieces together like a puzzle, where America is at and where Europe and all these different little places was at. You could basically almost put those as a puzzle together and put them back where they belong, where you could see where it was a Pangea. So the world that you know right now is about to perish and pass away. It's going to be a totally different world. And these are the things that we're telling you. Right. So this is Isaiah chapter 21, verse 4. It says, my heart panted, right? It's hard to say that. Panted. Fearfulness affrighted me, right? Because this is a time that, hey, it's going to be a day like none other. It's going to be a frightful time, right? Frightened me. The night of my pleasure have he turned into fear unto me, right? Because that's what's about to happen, man. Everything is going to be pleasant and regular day, and one day the stock market, the housing market's gonna pop, the bubble's gonna pop, and race wars, calamity, something's gonna happen, right? But everything is gonna be pretty much simultaneously. Things are gonna happen back to back to back. Because if somehow the race war happens before the stock market crash, they'll use that time period so the stock market crash while you're occupied with your hatred, while they're doing sly things, right, under the table, right? Because they were passing laws during the time of the CK thing, right? They were passing laws, legislations. Why everybody's, oh my God, CK, oh my God, he got assassinated, oh my God. And why? Meanwhile, your Congress was passing laws, right? It says prepare the table, right? Watch in the watchtowers, eat, drink, arise. Right? And that eating and drink is what dealing with the scriptures, right? Dealing with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You're eating these words, these food for thoughts, right? Preparing you. Ye princes, and appoint the shield. And anoint the shield, and anoint the shield, right? And that's Yahweh Shai, man. Yahweh Shai is our shield. But also your mind. Your mind needs to be anointed to be a shield unto the times of things to come. Right? For thus has the outer one, right? Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai said unto me, go and set a watchman, let him declare what he seeth. See, and that's ultimately what we're doing. We're telling you, hey, the The MARK is the micro CHIP. Period. That's it. Keeping it simple. Making it plain upon tables. Right? Say, prepare the table. Right? You know? It says, and he saw what chariots and what are we having a lot of right now? Chariot sightings. The was it the Atlas, was it no Atlas I3, the Atlas 3-eye Atlas or something like that, the three-eye Atlas or something like that it's called. So you got all these different sightings, right? Chariots and all sorts of things, right? Of horsemen and chariots, right? Which are angels, right? And you got the military too, right? Because those are also known as chariots, the vehicles, the chariots. So we've people have videotaped tons and tons of military vehicles on trains being shipped across the country. And this has been happening for years, right? And as you can see, Donald J. Trump has implemented the National Guard, the Marines, and all sorts of stuff, right? So now with these vehicles being shipped all across the country on these trains, which people have been videotaping this, man, I'm telling you, for quite some time, at least over 10 years, people have been seeing it because you had the Jade Helm. They did the practice run with the Jade Helm a couple years back, about 8-9 years back, right? Yeah, 7 or 8. Yeah, maybe 7 or 8 years back. Maybe even 9. I don't know. But it's been a while they did the J Helm thing. Around that time, the same time, the I-10 supposedly collapsed in. The road collapsed in at that time, so they had to go out there and fix it for whatever reason. Around that same time that they were practicing for the Jade Helm, right? So something's up with that road. So, but you got the military asses and chariots and camels, as yes, really pretty much dealing with the military. And he hearkeneth diligently with much heed, right? So yeah, you got the military. So you got the chariot sightings. So the Lord's bringing in what was the thing called? The More, right, which is a scout. And then you got the 3-eye Atlas, which is basically, that's the Lord's military. And then you got Esau's military, right? And it says, and he cried, a lion, my Lord, I stand continually upon the watchtower, right? And that's Esau. Esau is going to come in like a lion, man. He's going to come in, man, seeking whom he may devour, so to speak. Right? Upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward the whole night. So, hey, that's why there's these prophecies, these warnings go out day and night. Then, not to mention, you have brothers that's on, like, I'll give one for instance. You got the brother that's in Australia. Australia's on a totally different time. So when it's day here, I believe it's night there, right? Even you got the brothers in London, right? When it's day here, it's night there. So they're pushing out lessons. And then when lessons are being pushed out here, it's day here, but night there. So you have, on all spectrums, day and night, you have what warnings going out. and they're within their ward. And a ward, let's look up the word ward, because normally you have like a prison. I know, like when you have a warden, meaning like a prison, in which the Lord said that this is we're prisoners of hope, right? Yeah. So this is ward.
Ward.
Yeah, it says a separate room or area in a hospital, typically one allocated to a particular type of patient. I'm surprised it didn't put prisoner, because like when you go to prison, even prisoners are separated. Like I used to work at a prison, and you would separate the basically they would call it high. There's the high risk inmates, and they can't go into the regular gin pop with the actual regular ones who are just mild, right? They're not high risk or highly violent or whatever like that. So you separate it, and then when you deal with prisons, it says something about the thing being a room. Yeah, like that. It says room. And what are prison things? They're just rooms. The cells are just rooms, right? And then you have a warden, right, of a prison, right, of all those rooms, right, or units, right. Yeah, continue on right here. Come back here. Says, and behold, here cometh a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen, and he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, and is fallen. Babylon is fallen, and all the graven images of her gods he had broken unto the ground, right? See, and I know that's in Revelations. That's an angel comes and says that, right? Which is a chariot, right? And the chariot, the angel comes and says that. Yes, right here. Revelation chapter 14, verse 8. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all the nations drunk, right? Dealing with the impatience, dealing with the philosophy, right? Because all the whole world is going to get micro C hipped. So they're going to be drunken with this notion that, hey, all you got to do is get the micro C hip. We'll lock down this whole thing. Once you get the micro C hip, everything will be okay. And, don't worry about the second coming of the Lord. This will take care of all that, which is why the nations are going to be mad, right? They're going to be mad at this place, right? They're going to be mad because it ain't going to work. It's not set up for you to work, right? It was set up for you to punish the Israelites and not exceed your bounds. But your thing is to try to exceed further than what you were required, which is going to come with a hefty fall, right? Nations are drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, right? So you're all drunk with all the different scenarios of continuing on. Let's X out the dollars. Let's bring in the digital. Let's make everyone a slave, right? Under the international bankers. This'll work, because they gave them their chances to rule with the beast for a time period, right? And so they say, hey, didn't we Didn't we tell you all this before? We let y'all rule with us, so to speak. Right? We have full control, but we let you rule, so to speak. Right? So this is Revelation chapter 17, verse 12. It says, and the 10 horns, Lakia, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are the 10 kings which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Right? So you're gonna come into that time, you got these these systems, dealing with, most of that's NATO, but you still have these other places where, if they just give over their power unto, the system, they're saying, hey, look, we'll still let you rule. We'll let you have your providence. You basically just have to, basically bow down. Everybody has to get the MARK, which is the Karak's Grapho, and do away with your dollar bills. And this is the way you'll be able to buy and sell through this mechanism, and everything will be okay. And then this should take away the prophecies. This should have nothing to do with anything. This should make everything good, so to speak. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the devil's thinking completely, but it got to be what he's thinking, right? So then all these nations say, hey, yeah, we're with it. Because even though China's beefing with America, so to speak, they still plan on getting rid of the yen and getting part of this digital dollar. Same thing with Russia. Russia's supposed to be beefing with them, but they still plan on getting rid of the ruble and going in this digital dollar, right? As much as so-called, was it Burkina Faso, whatever it's called, they're already talking about the digital thing, right? Which just the people were saying of so-called Africa, they haven't had any real control over their own land the way they should. And basically that's what they told these Edomites. Hey, we'll get down with the digital dollar, but you're gonna have to let us have a little more say so within our what is it called? The resources, basically, so to speak. Salakia. You know what I mean? And so this is what all this thing is being hashed out to, because things have to move fast, because time is getting cut short. And they're going to rule but 1 hour, and that's all it's going to take for the Lord to destroy this entire system. Right? So these have one mind, right? Dealing with the Novos Ordo Seclorum, right? That, the new Orkamene power, right? So to speak, right? When there's everybody's on a universal basic income. Everybody's on this. Now you're not citizens of a country. You're citizens of the globe. You're global citizens, right? This is what they plan on doing. These have one mind, and shall give their power, right, and strength unto what? The beast, that fourth beast system, which is basically NATO, EU, and America, but mainly it being what? America, right? Because America's the face of this whole thing. It's so basically when they get mad, right? That's what's gonna happen. That's why they're gonna it says these shall make war with the Lamb. See, they're gonna come together as the Novos Ordo Seclorum. They're gonna come together to fight against Yahweh Shai, right? The second coming. And this is where they're gonna get mad at. Wait a minute, you said if we do this, that this will stop the Lord from coming. You know what I'm saying? We took all our people you said was these people, these Israelites, and we micro C-hipped all of them. Every last one of them we could possibly micro C-hip. We did it. But here it is, Yahweh Shai, and he's made war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, right? See? For he is the Lord of lords, right? You're a Lord, you're ruling over your land, you're doing this and that, but he's the Lord over you. He's created you. He's your maker, right? And King of kings. See, you're a king, but the Lord is the king over all kings, right? Starting with the elect, right? But all you little so-called your noble elites, you know, your what is it called? Your Illuminati, your Freemasons, all that type of thing, right? He's the King of kings, and they shall, and they that are with him are called and chosen, which is dealing with the elect, see, are called, chosen, and faithful. So the elect are going to be there, man. The elect is going to come with Yahweh Shai. And see, where I wanted to go to. Oh, right here. 16. Because ultimately, they're all going to get mad. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, right? NATO, EU, America. But also, they're going to give some of these other places, you know, a little power. Like China has this little power to have this, give you a little power, give you a little. So that way, these people give up their power to the beast, right? Right? Because they're all part of this whole thing. But the Lord's going to have it where all these have some type of discourse, right? Some type of animosity with each other. And it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the horse. See? And now once they realize, oh my God, you said that all we had to do was do this, and we could keep these Israelites in subjection, and we could keep on ruling, and this was this and that, and then we fought against Yahweh Shai, and then we still lost, right? And then of course, what's his name? Putin. He has the dead man trigger. So once they lose, the missiles get shot off anyway. So there's no way that you're gonna keep it from not happening, right? And these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, right? Which is talking about America, right? The country in itself, and shall eat her flesh and burn it with fire. And that's the ICBM missiles are gonna burn this place away, right? That's the time that we're living in, right? Yeah, because right here, right? For the power of the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kadash, put in their hearts, right? La'ab, their mind, to fulfill his will, right? So while they're doing all these different things, yeah, they're all together. They're all conjoined together. They're all part of the Illuminati. They're all part of the Freemasons. They're all part. And this is all one big show, right? This is really just to get people to get in, to get the charagma. But this is really all just so it can happen, just so this very thing can happen, so the Lord can get into their minds and be angry with America, right? And yeah, and fulfill his will, and to agree and to give their kingdoms unto the beast until the word of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, shall be fulfilled, right? Yeah, so that's basically talking about the 10 horns, basically NATO, right? Which is their allies are going to shoot missiles upon them, eat her flesh. But then you also got what? Russia, and on all the people who's connected with Russia, which would be what? China, North Korea, and all these other places that got missiles. You know, Turkey and Iran. No, let's not forget Iran, Persia, right? Says Ezekiel 38 and 10 said, "Thus saith Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, it shall also come to pass that at the same time, Salakia, shall things come into thy mind." So the same time that it's coming to the mind of the people of NATO, of Europe, and all these other places, these allies that's supposed to be allies of America, to shoot missiles on them, it's going to come in the minds of Russia and China, North Korea, Iran, Turkey. It's going to come in their minds also too, to shoot missiles on America, Babylon the Great, right? So it says, where am I at? Yeah, same time shall things come into thy mind, right? And thou shalt think an evil thought, right? So there you go, right? And thou shalt say, I will go up into the land of the unwalled villages. They're going to send those missiles here to America and also Israel, right? It's unwalled villages, right? And it says, I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bar nor gates, right? So that defense system it's not going to be enough, right? Yeah, so this is Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 22. Son of man, right? Because the Lord set up the prophets, right? Son of man, what is the proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, right? So you got these, the Israelites are, the bulk of the Israelites are here in America. So you have that here in America, right? With the Israelites. But also you have your miseducated system set up by Esau, who purposely taught them the wrong thing, and through the afflictions and the misrepresentation of the Bible, you have these Israelites that's suspicious of the Bible, which really is their help. So they're not really looking at it as their help. And then of course you got people who set up that way through the Most High, because the Lord put an evil thought in these Edomites' mind to shoot missiles on this place. He could put an evil thought in your mind to say, hey, there's something wrong with the Bible. I don't trust it. It comes from the white man. A man wrote that, right? Your basic nourishment and things you need for your body, and you're rejecting it, right? It keeps getting presented to you, and then you reject it, right? Like we had a dude come up a week prior to this last week. He sat there and listened to the lesson pretty much the whole time, asked a couple questions, we answered it, and then he said that he got it, he understood it, right? This week we seen him again. He go, oh, y'all going by right here? Oh, y'all just started? Gave us like a dab, like, bumped our fist, and then turned the other way, like, oh, I'm not gonna go over there. They just get ready to start, so I don't even want to be around when they gonna get ready to just start teaching. And went the other way. And the way he was seemed like he was kind of in tune at first for a little bit, but then he wasn't, because then he started lighting up cigarettes, and he had a couple of beers, and I guess, he started drinking his beers, and then he was like, man, I hope I don't, hey man, that's on you. That's on you. The word of God should be way more important than drinking a beer. And then he kept seeing these chicks come by, and then he'll try to revert his attention towards the women, and And yeah, he's not serious about this, man. But hey, the judgment is about to come, right? You think it's a joke. So what is that? You know what I mean? What's that proverb in the land of Israel, right? Amongst you people, and wherever you are, that's basically the land, because the world was made for your sake anyway. Saying the days of prolonged, the days are prolonged, and the vision felleth, right? Man, yeah, how was Cheyenne come? Y'all been talking about the end of the world. Man, y'all said in 2000 it was going to happen. You said it was in this and this and that. It was going to blah, 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 blah. So on and forth. All a little scoffing, right? Right? It says, tell them, therefore, thus saith Yahweh, the outer one, the outer one, power, the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, I will make this proverb to cease. And that's the time you're living in, man. The time where digital IDs is in the forefront, right? So it's only going to be the next step. And they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, amongst you Israelites, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and you ain't going to say that no more. A lot of you're going to be faced with either you get the charagma or you die, right? And a lot of you're afraid of death, man. You're afraid of the sword. You're afraid of famine. You're afraid of disease. You're afraid of all these things more than you're afraid of the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Now, I'm not saying there ain't a reason to be afraid of some of these things, but you got to have more fear of Yahweh than those things, right? If someone came at me right now and start pointing a gun at me, I'll be afraid. I ain't gonna pretend and not be afraid. But if I'm out there speaking the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, I believe more in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai than that gun, than he pointing that gun at me in that point in that hour, because I'm standing for truth, right? I'm standing up for the kingdom to come. And I ain't worried about that then, right? So the days are at hand, see, and that's where we're at right now. The days are at hand, and the effects of every vision, right, is about to come, about to be in fruition. For there shall be no more vain visions, nor flattering divinations within the house of Israel, right? For I am Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakadash. I will speak, and the word that I will speak will come to pass, and it shall be no more prolonged. For in your days, right now, O rebellious house, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Indians, you're rebellious, right? You don't want to listen. You don't want to listen to the prophets. Hey, will I say the word and will perform it, right? It's going to all play out, and it's playing out now. Saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakadash, right? Right. So Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakadash answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, see, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end, see, it seems like it's far, but it's for an appointed time. It's for, you know what I mean? I can't hasten it or cut it short or make it even longer than what it is. So the Lord can't do these certain things. It's at the appointed time that he has, even though he is shortening the days. Let me not say that, because he is shortening the days. But him shortening the days is still to meet that appointed time, is what I'm trying to say, right? You know, it's to meet that particular time that he has set up, right? Whenever he did it, and whenever it's going to actually be, but we can see the signs, right? The signs of the times. So we can see that it's definitely at hand, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, But at the end, right, and we're at the end, it shall speak. And these words are jumping off the page now. And not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry.
People flowing in totally unchecked, totally unvetted from the Biden administration. 25 million, in my opinion, that would be about 25 million. They came from prisons. They came from mental institutions. They were gang members. They were drug dealers. They came from the Congo. They came from all parts of South America. They came from everywhere. Think of it. Prisons from the Congo being released into the United States. Prisons opened up in Venezuela and many other countries pouring into the United States. And I couldn't believe it. One of the reasons I decided to run. I decided to run because I don't want to be controversial, but you see what's happened and you see all the information that's come out. We won in 2020 big. And I said, let's run. We got to run, because I saw what was happening. And the worst thing that I saw was all of these people. You know, we've already solved inflation. We've solved prices. Oil is way down. Energy is way down in the United States. But what I saw happening with millions of people pouring into our country, I couldn't stand to watch it. And we've done a great job. Nobody, if you've seen the last, I appreciate your question, by the way. Nobody, absolutely zero, and I'm not even sure that's possible, but it's a very liberal group that come out with those statistics. The last 3 months, we had zero. From millions of people a year ago, we had zero people enter our country illegally. And we do have people coming in legally through a legal process and testing and lots of other things. I think it's very important, and we speak about it. And I think your situation is very similar. You know, you have people coming in, and I told the Prime Minister I would stop it. And it doesn't matter if you call out the military, it doesn't matter what means you use, but it's going to destroys countries from within. And we're actually now removing a lot of the people that came into our country. It's a very hard chore. We were given a very, very bad hand. Millions of people came in from prisons and mental institutions. We have to remove them. And we are removing them. We have no choice. And I feel very strongly about it.
Yeah. So now it's being manifest, right? It's made it plain upon tables, upon the table, what the watchmen upon their towers, right? So basically, this is what it is, man. Making it plain upon tables on that watchtower, explaining to you, right? It says, Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Right? And that mark is what? A charagma, right?
Strong's G 5480, charagma.
Yep, charagma. And then it says, my main thing is the mark branded upon horses, right? Horse known as beast, also known as the fourth beast system, the last one to be ruling, with the one with the deadly wound that will be healed and returned, part of that beast system. And that beast system would have technology, according to Daniel's 12, that knowledge shall increase in that time. And we're in the time that knowledge has increased. So with that, you have what? That knowledge being increased, you have the Karax, the
Strong's
delivery
G
system.
5482.
Right.
Karax.
Right.
Karax.
And it's gonna be a pail of steak, right? Steak to drive it through your skin, right? To sharpen to a point, right? You know, so it's gonna be that delivery system, you know, the hyperthermic needle, right? Pail through the earth, right? And your body's made of earth, right? Whether you understand it or not, going back to the beginning, made of earth, right? And that needle's going to go through, sharpen to a point, right? Yeah, palisade, rampart, a military mount for circumvallation in a siege, right? And that's what they're going to have you. And you're under attack. You're in a siege. You're in a war. But this war is mental. It's more a mental war, right? This is a war for your soul, right? Let's go to the. So when you have the charagma, which is the actual mark, that thing it's going to go within you through the delivery system, through the hypodermic needle, within you, and once it's in you, it's what?
Strong's G 1125. Grapho.
Yep. See, to write, to refer to the form of letters. And let's just get to the point, because my favorite when you get to the points right here. B says to commit to writing. So this thing will have writings inside this thing. The charagma itself will go inside you through a needle in you, and it will have writing upon it, right? And it says to be committed to writing things not to be forgotten, written down records. So we know that what a lot of people just say it's going to be a tattoo that's 6666. Well, a tattoo that just says 666 will not have all your records, right? Your driving records, your driver license, your social security number, your dental records, your hospital records, your everything. It's not going to have that. But on a micro C-hip, what they would call a motherboard, would have information that can tell your entire life. Just like when they used it on your cattle, your pets, right? It'll say such and such is the name of this pet, lives at such and such address in such and such city, right? Owner name such and such, phone number, blah 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 blah, and have all that on it. So if it's that for your pet, how much more for you? Which they talking about building city size information towers in these places, right? In your state, in your country, wherever you at, city size information towers to be able to harness all the information. So, hey, with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, Yahwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and the Baba Ball, and Kwam Yasharallah.